what are your memories from the past trip to India and anything that you couldn't do back then and looking forward to fulfill now?
Yeah, I mean, the last time we were there, went to Pune, and it was a very quick trip. We landed in Mumbai and drove like 5 hours, stayed at a hotel, played the show, and left the following day. So it was like a whirlwind. And so what I really want to do is eat a lot more food when I'm there and meet more people and see some of the sights. It was a very we were in the midst of a long tour, and it just felt like the things I do remember are the drive and the near accidents, but they weren't really, to me they were from like American standard, but everyone seemed to not be phased at all by how close the cars were getting, and it was kind of amazing to me. So um, I think I think that, and then the crowd itself felt way more passionate than I maybe would have expected. Um, so I'm super excited to be going back.
And how familiar are you with Indian artists and music scene here? And any specific artists that you would want to collaborate with?
I'm not super familiar, but I'm also not familiar with like artists from almost anywhere. I feel like um, if you ask me about Ireland, if you ask me about the UK, like I listened mostly to artists from like the 70s. So um, I feel like an old man. But if I think one of the guys in my band, Stealth, who plays piano, he always seems to know what's going on locally, and he'll show me and send me songs. And I think um, I'm excited to sort of dive into some of that because not only for the musicians themselves, but the style of music, some of the scales that are used, um, and the time signatures are often very different from Western music, which is like four on the floor. It's like always one, two, three, four, one. It's very there's nothing that crazy going on, and I like diving into these other styles of music that kind of challenge what I'm used to. So I am excited to hear that.
And what can you tell about the album Automatic?
It's our fifth album. It marked 20 years of me and Jeremiah making music together, which is a big deal for us. And it was made in the most innocent way, the album, where we did it very quickly, and we didn't do many takes of any songs. So it was like it felt like we were kids, just innocent kids making music. We didn't really know what we were doing because we were recording so quickly. Um, and so it felt a lot more like it's our fifth album, but it feels a lot more like our first album because it's really raw.
And how different it is from your previous albums?
I would say I would say I hope we're like slowly evolving. So if you were to listen to our fifth album and then go right back to the first, you're going to hear a lot of differences. But if you listen to them in sequence, it's a slow evolution. Um, and a lot of this is just getting hopefully more and more down to what I hope. For example, I hope when I get older, as I get older, I mean, I learned how to say something honest and more to the point with less words. And that's what this album feels like. It's like getting more to the point with less.
And like you have mentioned, it's been about more over 20 years actually. So how do you keep the creative bond and what's the best part of working in the band?
But the best part is making music, getting to make music and no one's in the room except me and Jeremiah, typically just writing. So um, I think that's the engine behind why why we were passionate about it, because no one gets to tell us what to do. Everywhere else in our life, someone has a say, but here we get to make all the decisions and um, explore things. And I think part of it is I heard I heard a quote from David Bowie about how he stayed creative, and he always talked about imagining being in the ocean and your toes are just barely touching the sand, and sometimes a wave comes in and lifts you off, and you can't touch anymore, and you come back down. It's like you're just out of your depth, and you're kind of innocent that way. And if you ever, I don't know, imagine if someone took you to a pottery class and you never did pottery. you're gonna be like a child making that, and it might not even look that good, but it activates something in you that you're trying to do that bowl the right way. And I think making music, if you make the same bowl every time, it's not fun. So you have to figure out new ways to do it. And I think that's helped us is just um, change how we make albums each time and our approach so that we always kind of feel like novices. You know, we always kind of feel like children, not quite sure of ourselves, but in a good way, you know, like um, curious, just like, whoa, check this out. What is this? Not like, then we have to write a chorus. Now that's done. That's not fun to be really clinical about it.
And what, according to you, can bring audiences back to the stadiums?
Can you say that one more time?
What, according to you, can bring audience back to stadiums?
Um, like why do people come out to shows and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, at a point, like people weren't actually, especially after COVID, I would say, it was a bit
Hmm.
tough to bring back the audience.
Yeah, I
So,
think
yeah.
part of it is like maybe people had a renewed appreciation for music in general, because they weren't allowed to be together around it. I think music is always more powerful in groups, and sometimes even if it's a big show that feels like if you saw how if you know if you learned how many people were there, you might be like, oh, maybe that's not as fun of a show. I like the small shows, and it's like sometimes you're at a big show and it's mind blowing how powerful it is to be around a bunch of people focusing on the same thing and singing and feeling the same emotion. So I think for me, it was almost like a religious experience to uh, listen to music as a kid and go to concerts. Um, so I think part of it is like it's almost something spiritual for people to go see music.
And how excited are you to be performing in India once again?
We're, I mean, we're so excited. We're also just really proud to be able to like say we can play a show here and there's people coming. And I mean, it's one of the places I would have visited had we never gotten to play there. I would have gone and visited because it's such an intriguing and enormous place to try to explore. So I'm glad for an excuse to go through touring, but I think we're all just really excited to get to go back again, and we hope this is the first of or the second of many trips to India.
And who are the artists, if there are any, that inspire you for the music, to make the music?
Yeah, it's not a terribly long list. It's artists. It's a few artists that I grew up listening to. It was um, Talking Heads, The Cars, Billy Joel, Leonard Cohen, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty. Not that much beyond that. You know, I was like, that was what I was raised on. And then some new artists will come along and I'll be really into their stuff. And anyone who has interesting stories in their songs, I'm always really intrigued by. But when I was a kid, the stuff I was exposed to, I can't shake. It's like it's the foundation of what like keeps me interested in music.
And besides Automatic, is there any other album that you're working on?
Um, any new music? Not we're always just making new ideas, but no songs yet. It's all these little voice notes on our phones, and we just wait till the pile of notes is big enough, and then we make a new album. Pile's kind of small right now.